Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Ask This Bookkeeper Anything. My name is Veronica Fry, and I'm the owner of True Resource Bookkeeping. I help service-based business owners increase clarity and decrease stress around money. So today's question is, should I pass credit card processing fees on to clients? I had to actually answer this question for myself in my own business a year and a half ago. I was changing to a new billing software, and for the first time ever, I had the option of having the customer cover the credit card fee. And so I had to think to myself, do I want to do that or do I just eat the fee? And there was two things that helped me make the decision. First, I had a question come to mind, and that question was, why am I trying to avoid paying for a service that I'm using? I pay for my email subscription. I pay for my appointment scheduler. There's all these little costs of doing business that I pay for and I don't really think that hard about. But this, I feel a certain way about it. And I think that credit card processing a lot of times doesn't feel fair, right? It feels like, why is this thing a percentage? And the actual effort of transferring money is probably the same. I don't know all the ins and outs behind the scenes of transferring money, but to a consumer perspective, you feel like it's not like it's more hard to transfer, $10 as it is to transfer $10,000. And so the fact that the fee goes up, the more that you're receiving from your client doesn't really feel fair. But it's still a service. If I wanted someone to pay me by credit card and I didn't want to use a processing service at all, I would have to go through a lot to figure out how to get the money to me. And so they're doing something that I don't want to do. And it makes it easier for my clients to pay me in a variety of ways. And so it's worth it to just pay the amount. And so that was one thing that helped me make the decision. And that was the decision leaning towards just eating the fee. And the second thing was putting myself in the customer's shoes. It's a practice that I like to do often because I know sometimes as a business owner, we're so in our business that it's hard to remember what it's like to be on the other side, to be a customer. And we're a customer all the time for other businesses, but sometimes when it's your business, sometimes you forget that it's the same thing. So I was thinking from the customer's perspective, what is the experience like of being charged extra for this fee? And I didn't have to think that hard. I was thinking of a moment where I had to get service to my car. And I went to the car body shop, and when I was paying, there was a sign up and it said, if you use a credit card, you'll be charged 3% more. And I didn't like how it felt. From a customer's perspective, there's really no value add to an extra fee to pay for a credit card to penalize me for paying you. And I prefer you just roll it into the price. And from the business owner side, you might think, that's silly. You're still paying more. Why would you feel better about that? But from the customer side, it's just lumped into the total value of the service. So when they say this is how much it costs, you're like, okay, I'm paying you to fix this clanking sound in my car. If I just see the credit card fee amount listed out separately, that doesn't feel like a value add for the customer. It just feels like this extra thing. It feels like you're nickel and diming. It doesn't really feel great. So those two things helped me make the decision to not pass on the fee to my client, to just eat it on my side, to treat it as a business expense, and to price my services accordingly. So anytime I set a price for a service, I'm always looking at it less whatever the fee is to help me determine whether I've priced my service enough to account for the fee. So I do want to wrap up with a caveat. I'm not saying that you should just always eat the fee and never care about the fact that the fee could be a lot. I think there are some instances where you want to find ways to reduce the fee. I still don't think I would charge it to the customer, but find ways to reduce the fee. So these are in cases where if you're selling something and it's a large amount of money, it's probably to your benefit to see if the client can pay in a way that has a lower fee. So an ACH, a wire. There are also merchant services companies out there who say if you have a high volume of sales and they can help negotiate a lower rate for you per sale, that might be an option. I don't think it's just necessarily you're stuck with what the fee is. But the question is, should you pass the fee on to your customer? And for me, I say no. I say just treat it as a business expense, but it is a decision that you have to make, and it's not a simple one. It really depends on what your business is, what kind of things matter to you. But I just wanted to share how I answered the question, and hopefully that can be helpful to someone out there. So that is all for today's question. If you have any more questions, there's a link in the description box where you can submit your question anonymously, and I will answer it on a future video. Until next time,